Organizational meeting of January 8th, 2020 at 7 p.m. Would you please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Before we get started on our regular meeting for election of officers, I'd like to ask Jessica Wright and Nancy Brown to come forward and be sworn in.
Me too. Go ahead.
Right here is fine.
Yeah, use the mic.
Okay, cool. Very good. Well, good evening. I'm Dr. Bonica. I'm the mayor of Stowe. And it's really a privilege to go ahead and go and swear you in, not swear at you. So,
There's a change.
We've known each other for a very long time, and probably longer since you're not that old. So I'll say that I'm older, so, which I am. Okay, we'll stop it. So, this is very important, and we really appreciate your service to our city, to our schools. It all becomes one, and I really am proud that you've done this and stepped up to the plate. So, what we're going to do, we're going to have you raise your right hand. You'll repeat after me. Okay. Do you solemnly swear that you will support the Constitution
I solemnly swear I will support the Constitution
of the United States
of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of Ohio,
and the Constitution of the State of Ohio,
and that you will faithfully
and that I will faithfully
and impartially
and impartially
discharge your duties
discharge my duties
as a board member
as a board member
of the Board of Education
of the Board of Education
of the Stowe Monroe Falls City School District
of the Stowe Monroe Falls City School District
in Summit County, Ohio,
in Summit County, Ohio,
to the best of your ability
to the best of my ability
and in accordance
and in accordance
with the laws
with the laws
now in effect
now in effect
and hereafter
and hereafter
to be enacted.
to be enacted
During your continuance
during my continuance
in said office
in said office
and until your successor
and until my successor
is elected
is elected
and qualified.
and qualified.
So, you agree to all that, and if you do, the answer I do.
I do.
Good, very good. Well, very good. And now it's formally done that Nancy Brown and I present this almost like a wedding.
I don't have to repeat it. Thank you. I would not have.
My name is Julie Schaefer. I'm a judge in the Lake District Court of Appeals, and I'm very honored to be here today with Jessica Wright. She's my position as attorney, but I've been a board member for 14 years for the county jail in City City. But it's been very important for me to be in this community, and so this is a good
Thank you, and before we move on to the next thing, as lawyers are wanting to do, I just have a couple of things that I'd like to say. That one thing that I would like to do is work to increase the harmony within the district, and in that vein, I'd like to start that off. I have a couple of political points that I'd like to make. First, I would like to make it clear, since we are a Board of Education, we're here in an educational setting, that
I believe you're out of order. You need to go on to the next agenda, which is the election of the Vice President.
All right. We will move now to nominations for Vice President of the Board for 2020. The floor is now open. Do I have any nominations for the Vice President of the Board?
Yes, I'd like to nominate Lisa Johnson Bowers.
Nomination for Lisa Johnson Bowers. Do we have any other nominations for the board? I would like to nominate Jessica Wright.
So you'll have to move and second to close the nominations, then what we'll do is, by response, elect a vice president. So in your response, it's not a no or yes, it's a nay. So you need a first and second to close.
I move that we close the nominations for vice president.
Second?
So in the responses, what you have to do is say a name. Goes as this: Jessica Wright,
Jessica Wright.
Brown,
Lisa Johnson Bowers.
Lisa Johnson Bowers,
Lisa Johnson Bowers.
Whitaker.
Jessica Wright.
Lisa Johnson Bowers.
There you go. Lisa Johnson Bowers is your vice president.
At this time, I believe the next order of business is to turn the matter over to Mr. Gummery for the oath of office of the president and the vice president. So, Mr. Gummery, I will turn that over to you.
You said the oaths or the next?
The oaths.
The oaths.
Oh, yes, it's the same. Okay.
Just. Do you want us at the same time?
Yeah, same time. More of a efficiency person. Raise your right hand. Do you solemnly swear that you will support the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the State of Ohio, and that you will faithfully and impartially discharge your duties as a board member of the Board of Education of Cristobal or Oklahoma City School District, Summit County, Ohio, to the best of your ability and in accordance with the laws now in effect and hereafter to be enacted during your continuance in said office and until your successor is elected and qualified? Answer as I do.
I do.
Welcome.
Congratulations. Next item on our agenda, item number 7 would be the meeting dates and times. Do I have a motion to approve? And those items are attached to the agenda as Exhibit 1. Do I have a motion to approve the meeting date and times for 2020?
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Do we have any discussion?
The only comment I have to make with that is to ensure that our work sessions are, designed for us to, communicate together so we can all be on the same playing field. And of course, if there's nothing on the agenda, that we just move it to the next meeting or, be efficient with them.
I do have one conflict on a date, and I don't know if it's for a work session, so that's the only one, just for Monday, March 9th.
We are flexible. We can,
Are we looking at that now? Is that what we're doing?
I am.
Okay. Bob, can you turn this down? I mean, it's like, they were hearing me at the basketball game. And I'm like whispering.
I'm afraid you're hearing me breathe.
I never whisper.
Yeah.
If we are choosing a new date for the March 9th work session, I'd just like to keep in mind that we already have a scheduled regular meeting on the 16th of March.
Which is spring break week.
So we might either need to
Definitely.
plan on, that's why it's set, the spring break I think is next week. So we might need either plan to move the meeting up into the prior week or consider not having it.
Let's just scrap it.
I don't have a problem scrapping it.
Yeah.
It doesn't seem to make sense to have
Yeah.
meetings that close
Yeah,
together.
I agree, let's scrap
So
it.
we'll move March 9th?
Yep.
Okay.
It's Florida the next week, Nance. The week after that.
I don't want to be out of order here, but just, I know that we've always said this every year, and that is, because it's not state, I don't think, if school is canceled the day of a board meeting, it is automatically moved to the
Yes.
Right.
And I just want to make sure that we're all still.
Yes.
I would like to suggest that we take a better look at the calendar and go through it, and at our next meeting, which is Monday, that we see if there's any other changes that need to be made. We can bring it up at that time.
Okay.
Just so that everybody's aware, all we do is replicate the one from the year before, and that's
Right.
just what we do.
I believe we
And
set these calendar dates a couple years ago,
Yeah.
so, we're going in advance, and you never know what's gonna come up.
Right.
So,
so it's just a starting point for us. You're not gonna offend us if you change it.
There's always flexibility.
right, okay.
We have a first and a second.
So we have a first and a second, but do we need to modify that exhibit one?
We have a first and second, but it's a modification, it was to have them, I would suggest that we're just gonna remove that date and not be published on the website as a date of a work session.
Okay.
So I'll call the roll. Johnson Bowers,
Aye.
Whitaker,
Aye.
Wright,
Aye.
Brown,
Aye.
Betty.
Aye.
Now, at the risk of upsetting the apple cart here, my cheat sheet that I was given is not in order, so I will stick with the agenda. And the next item on the agenda, item 8A, is to approve the board service fund for $20,000 in accordance with Ohio Revised Code, section 331515. Do I have a motion to approve that service fund?
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second?
Do we have any discussion? Roll call, please.
Whitaker,
Aye.
Wright,
Aye.
Brown,
Aye.
Johnson Bowers,
Aye.
Betty.
Aye.
The next item on the agenda, item 9A, are the tax advances. The item seeks to authorize the treasurer to obtain advances against tax collections as prescribed by Ohio Revised Code, section 32124, from the county auditor in order to meet the current expenses as in, it references a presented exhibit, but I do not believe that there is one. Do I have a motion to approve these tax advances?
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Do we have any discussion? Roll call, please.
Wright,
Aye.
Brown,
Aye.
Johnson Bowers,
Aye.
Whitaker,
Aye.
Betty.
Aye.
Moving on to item 10A, the standing authorizations. They are written in full on the agenda, items 1 through 12. Unless required, I will not read each of those verbatim. Do I have a motion to approve the standing authorizations as printed on the notice meeting minutes?
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Brown,
Aye.
Johnson Bowers,
Aye.
Whitaker,
Aye.
Wright,
Aye.
Betty.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Next item on the agenda, the superintendent committee, item 11A. For that, I will turn that over initially to Mr. Bratton.
Sure. In talking about this, and I know that we've had some discussions regarding committees and whatnot, and what I'd like to do is I don't, I'd like to start with approving the committees that we currently have standing, okay? And then if we want to add, I think we need to discuss that in full at a work study or next regular meeting, whichever one the board would like to do, and discuss the pros and cons and what do we want to add or not add. And do we want it to be a superintendent or board, et cetera. So I'm going to kind of amend this, and I had put down legislative. Okay, I'd like to remove that. And that'll be part of the discussion. And, with the ed voucher system and things like that coming up, I'd like to have a committee start looking at those things. But we can remove that from now because it doesn't currently exist, and we can add that possibly later. As well as the, was there another one on there? No, the rest of them actually, policy safety committee. Yeah, and the probably ought to take transportation off of this list because it is currently a board committee, not a superintendent committee.
That's true. Very true.
So we can continue to operate that, which it is my desire to do, but I think it's put in the wrong place here. Would everybody agree with that?
Yep.
Okay.
You
Thank
have
you.
on here the policy committee, but I know that involves school policy.
Correct.
We also have the Neola policy, which is not on here.
That's actually what I want this policy committee to address as well.
The policy would be considering Neola.
Yes, the school policy and Neola policy, which one becomes the other. Right. So I guess we're looking for people to serve on those committees. That's
I'd like to
kind of-
remain on the technology committee, if that's okay.
And I'd like to remain on the policy committee. And if it's still in existence, the food service committee.
That can also always be resumed. It was a subcommittee, so,
But I would like to make
Sure.
known that I
Okay.
would like to be involved.
we'll put you down there.
But when it comes to the building and grounds committee, that,
It's not the PI committee.
is that the committee that's meeting this week? You know,
I'll be real honest with you, what it really became is the Safety and Security Committee is what we used to discuss building and grounds things, because that was our focus at the time. So if we're gonna discuss building and grounds, I would suggest in a broader term, like with the facilities and things like that, and maybe you can even decide, you know, as we go with the facilities meetings, maybe that's how we decide who's on this, is, you know, do we have board representation at the facilities meetings that are like starting this week?
so that was my question. Is whoever's on this building and grounds committee, which you would rename the facilities committee, are those people also going to be on the facilities committee that you're, the
Well,
meeting
that
this
would be the
week? Or are we rotating, or, you know, because that committee is community driven.
Right,
You know,
absolutely.
so we are just there as, you know, just to
Your
see
ears
what's
and
going
eyes
on
and
exactly.
resources, right.
You know, so we're not there to run that committee, we're
Correct.
here to,
So, and I kind of mentioned it in my email the other day, I think it'd be, you know, if everybody has a desire and interest, I think you talk and you say, you know, let's rotate this thing and everybody takes meetings, and, or you sit there and say, I think we need 2 standing people on this thing for every meeting. It doesn't matter to me, but the job of those people on it would be to report back to the rest of the board how that meeting went, what it went, you know, that type of thing. So I leave that up to the board for discussion, how you guys want to handle that.
I would like to remain on the Safety and Security Committee. That committee, I really like the work that they do. Really leaves plenty of spots.
So the legislative committee is,
Legislative is also going to be, it's my vision anyway, to add that to the policy committee. It just makes sense, because those meetings usually involve our attorneys when we're talking about policy, et cetera, and then they can help
Well,
also
normally,
interpret.
legislative committee would be anything that the state changes,
right,
with Board of Education changes.
Right.
So it's brought to the board,
keeping us up to date.
keeping us up to date.
right.
Yeah,
No, I was just.
the
I
policy
just knew-
part, right.
Yeah, I just knew he had commented on how he wanted to change that, and I was. just-
Yeah, I kind of want to add, and that's can be discussed later, but adding legislative to that as well, I think makes sense. But we don't have to decide legislative, we just need to decide policy right now, so.
We want to just go down the list and fill the committees in.
Yep.
Do we have anyone who would like to join this video on the policy committee?
Jess, right?
What about joining me on the Safety and Security Committee?
I could do that, but if you want it, it's fine.
Trying to figure out what my choices are. This is like having a
You
menu.
would have safety and security, tech, and potentially building and grounds.
Yeah, I'd be no good at tech, so. Safety and security, yeah.
Okay. So we have Whitaker and Brown, right?
And what about the technology committee joining Ms. Johnson Bowers?
Jess?
Do we want to fill the building and grounds committee today?
That's up to the board.
So I guess to the extent that that committee bleeds into the facilities commission, we may want to, maybe being that they have have a meeting this week, at least make sure that we have representation there to report back.
And make sure there's no more than 2 of you there tomorrow night. So I think,
I can do it, but I don't, you know. If it's.
can, but you don't want to type thing, or?
No, I can do it. I'm there for you,
Um,
but I don't have to.
It's up to you guys, I mean, it doesn't matter to me.
So
Nobody's
you
jumping
can put
at
my
this
name
thing.
down, you can put my name down on that, and then
Okay.
if we want to rotate or,
Yeah, I'd
go.
love to be part of that. I can't be
Okay.
there tomorrow, but I.
got it.
Okay, so we can put you down?
I'd love to be part of that,
Okay.
yes.
I think that's all that needs to be decided as far as superintendent's committee.
Got it.
Thank you.
I don't know that we need to move, and have a roll call for the superintendent's committees.
No.
No, there's essentially, they could be, there's one or two ways you can discuss where you can appoint them, and you guys came to consensus about what you want, so we're fine.
So moving on to item number 12, the treasurer's recommendations. For that, I will turn that over to Mr. Gummery.
I asked the board to approve the alternative tax budget. Once a first and second, I explained to you the ultimate joys of doing it and what it represents.
So moved. Second.
We have a first and a second. Do I have a discussion?
The alternative tax budget has to be turned in every year so that the county auditors see that we're going to actually spend the money we're going to spend in multiple different funds. So, that's it.
Roll call, please.
Councilman Bowers,
Aye.
Whitaker,
Aye.
Wright,
Aye.
Brown,
Aye.
Bettigo.
Aye.
The second item is the OSBA membership for the board. In your packets, there's multiple choices on the membership level.
This says for the treasurer.
Yeah,
That's supposed to be for the board?
no, the bill is addressed to me. All bills are addressed to me.
You get the bills.
It's for you, but it's
Okay.
addressed.
So it's an annual membership dues of $7,577. There's, with that, you get a free electronic briefcase, which keeps you up to date on the goings and items of superintendents, legislating, other hot topic items for boards of education. Additional cost, you can get the annual briefcase in paper for an additional $145, so you guys can raise your hand if you'd like to do that. The annual school management news, which is an additional report that has a lot of negotiating items about settlement of contracts, items of that nature. I have found that other boards that I've worked with have found it to be helpful because it gives you a picture of what's happening around the state. And the actual, that item in paper is an additional $200 for 12 issues. So I would recommend the board do the annual school management and the oath briefcase electronically so that it would be an additional $150 on the $7,577.
Do I have a motion to approve item 12B, membership in the Ohio School Boards Association?
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Discussion.
Who was the second?
I have a question.
I was the second.
We usually go to OSBA membership for the treasurer, but is this something new compared to what we have done?
No, this is done every year as a membership in OSBA. The OSB Capital Conference is a separate item that we pay for in addition to.
I'm just checking because
Yeah.
I didn't remember that we paid that.
This is simply for
Yeah.
you guys, and for some reason it's reading that it's for him. It's,
Okay.
this is your guys' membership into SBA.
We have no other discussion. Roll call, please.
Whitaker,
Aye.
Wright,
Aye.
Brown,
Aye.
Johnson Bowers,
Aye.
Bettigo.
Aye.
Doesn't work. The next item is the OSBA legal fund. This is something that you can choose to call their legal representation that they have on staff. It's total cost annually, it's unlimited for $250. We did not do this last year, but it was done the prior couple of years. This is a choice for you guys, and I don't use it. It would be something that you guys use as a board. If you want to do it, we can do that. If you don't, that's fine too. Just say we're not going to do it and don't have it.
See it.
Do I have a motion to
So moved.
Second.